Okay, so we have a new episode of Legends and Leaders, and today it's great to have Josh here. Josh, you're somebody that's been behind really an amazing brand for creatives. There are so many people that have created so many great drawings, and they've made stuff with the products you've created. And I think that creativity is so important in every person, and you've built the tools to make that happen. You built tools that have the washability, so they're fun, but can easily be clean. You can easily clean it off the surface and just so many other different types of products. I'm excited to have you here and to get into your story.
All right, cool. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Awesome. So, Josh, how did your interest in business and what you're doing now, how did this kind of passion for wanting to build an interesting venture around creativity, start?
So, it's interesting. Our company, Liqui-Mark, my father started our company over 51 years ago. It was on a whim. He was working for another writing instrument manufacturer the company was purchased, and he was selling a major retailer at the time. He was 24 years old and went to go on a sales call. And the buyer said, "I don't like the company that bought your company, so go start your own pen and marker company." And he did. It's the quick version of the story, and took loans and imported coloring markers from Italy under private brand, and then a year later started investing in machinery and equipment and molds, and those molds are running 100 feet from where I'm sitting now, as you can see in my messy office of samples everywhere. And Liqui-Mark, we manufacture, we're manufacturing markers, pens, coloring markers, highlighters, dry erase markers, permanent markers under our brand, the private brand for major retailers. And then we supply to the commercial school and office products market as well. We have an incredible team of people. And growing up as a kid, I mean, the thing I loved to do the most was, if I was off from school on a holiday that the company was open, I'd be going to work with my dad and standing in the factory packing markers into boxes and doing anything possible because I just loved it. And after college, I went to work in the telecommunications field. I worked for AT&T in corporate business development and sales for a little while in New York City. And but ultimately, I knew I wanted to work here, and I did. And then within, I would say, a couple of years of me, being here, which is 25 years already. It's crazy that I have to think about that number. Selling major retailers, learning the operation, understanding what it's like to sell, a major retailer like Walmart and Target and Dollar Tree and Family Dollar and CVS. And so from drug to mass retail, the drug, food, supermarket chains, things like that. And then the commercial office and school products, catalog distributors. We wanted to diversify the business, and we created a whole different division of the company for the promotional products division. So it's the same products, just sold in a completely different way. So we sell branded merch, swag, that people know it as a variety of different terms. The specialty business is an incredible business, and we're selling writing instruments are the number one product category by volume of units sold. And we started that, and I led and drove the bus on it. And I kind of dove in not knowing a thing and doing trade shows in an industry I had no idea what was happening, networking with people, meeting other suppliers, meeting our customers who are distributors, who were anywhere from a Fortune 500 advertising marketing firm to some little some retired person working out of their apartment on the beach in Florida, who has clients who sell branded merch and swag to. And it's been an incredible journey. It's been pretty awesome. And if it's helped us diversify our business. Now we have 3 different segments, being the mass retail, commercial school and office product side, selling to school districts through distributors, and then selling on the promotional product side through our distributor network. It could be anywhere from Bank of America wanting their logo on a pen or a highlighter to the barbershop. It's been pretty incredible. If I would say that if we didn't diversify ourselves, I think we'd be in a whole different place. I think that on both sides of the business, our brand awareness that's at retail helps boost sales on the promotional product side, and vice versa. I think that the promotional products end users that see our brand and our name, then recognized it at retail. So on both sides, it's been pretty great. And I think the thing that drives me, and ask the question, what drives me the most in it is the relationship part. I mean, I've made lifelong friends in the industry, and and it's been pretty amazing. It's been pretty amazing.
Mhm. So when did you decide, Josh, that you wanted to get involved in the family business? What made you want to do that?
I watched. It's funny because I watched my dad work. He was always working, but he was not that he wasn't engaged with that. He was also, my brother and I worked together, and my father passed away 7 years ago. But even while he was working and running, not only we had another company at the time, he still coached two little leagues that were, he drove an hour each way to work in Brooklyn from Long Island. He would make sure if he had to get there for a 4 o'clock practice, he was there. He coached two little leagues simultaneously, 5 years apart. And I still remember him later in life saying, you know what it was like to teach 5-year-olds t-ball and 10-year-olds, who knew how to play, you know, and it wasn't an easy feat, but he did it. But and he traveled a lot, and he took us on those trips, and, so we had a great opportunity to, see the world, and go to places. I mean, I remember the first time I was in Las Vegas, I was 15 years old. He took my mom and my brother and I to Las Vegas. He was doing a trade show, and we worked the show. I mean, we built the booth, and we
Well,
set it up, and and we learned. We were constantly learning about it and totally involved, even um,
mm,
even even when we were younger, and I just was totally enthralled by it. And and I remember, even being 16 years old at a trade show in Atlanta, and and going out with clients to dinners, and just being involved in it. It never felt like it wasn't a place for my dad to bring his family. He was proud of, the business he created. He was proud of us to be involved, even when we weren't really involved. I mean, I remember being in college, and, I flew down to Orlando to meet my family for a weekend because my father was doing a trade show, and we worked the show, you know, we worked it. Um, so, I loved it. It was cool. It just felt cool. I don't know how else to describe it in the easiest way possible. It was a great experience, and I watched people would get so excited to see my father, people that he did business with, that he would see at a
mm,
trade show, once a year, twice a year, from all over the country, or all over the world, even, come up to him and give him a big hug, and was so excited to see him, and you know, and I can say, fortunately, I have the same experience. I look forward to seeing people I do business with, and and I'm grateful that they look forward to seeing me. And I think it goes back that far. And I still get excited to go to a trade show. I do, and see my friends in the business, and go on sales calls. I still get excited to walk into go walk into Walmart's corporate office, or Dollar Tree's corporate office, or on the promotional side of, it could be a small showroom to a massive, office building, uh, for a marketing and advertising firm, and as they say,
mm.
do your dog and pony show. It's great. It's a lot of fun.
It's awesome. Josh, why do you think the Liqui-Mark brand has just caught fire? Like, it's just so many people love the brand. The brand's a great brand. What went into building this amazing brand?
I appreciate that. I think that it was built on having great quality, reliability, and integrity, and value. I'm not ashamed to say that we're not Crayola. We're not Bic. We don't need to be. There's a place in the market, in
Mm,
every consumer product, for different levels of brand recognition, um, pricing structure, and we always fought for that set in the retail space, that second tier business, second tier space, second tier business. And that's okay. There is a place for everybody, whether it's, in hard goods, soft lines. And I think that, if we're doing this almost 51 years, clearly our qualities is relied upon by the consumer. People recognize it. They feel that there's great value. So I think that's where it all happened.
Mhm. And you've been producing in the USA for a long time, a lot of it, right?
Yeah, since a couple of years after, so I would say almost as long as we're in business. First couple of years, we're in business almost 51 years. First few years, my father imported product that came from Italy, markers that came from Italy. There was no manufacturing of these products, or very few and far between in Asia. And then he built molds, and we started making ink, and assembling, printing, packing, shipping, all here in the U.S. And we're still doing it today. Machines are running 100 feet from where I'm sitting right now. It's pretty amazing.
It is. And these machines are built on the same molds for 50 years.
Yeah, I mean they're newer molds now. I mean similar design. The molds have been changed. I mean we're on our fourth generation of, I would say, of molds designs. We have a few different styles, but for the most part, yeah, they definitely
Mhm.
are. And some of those machines, geez, I would say at least one of them I can think of is at least 40 years old and still pumping markers out every
Really?
day. Yeah, you just need to maintain it.
Mhm. So when I think about like the shape of the actual markers, right? Like the shape matters, the way it feels in your hand matters. What went into figuring that out? I mean, you seem to have like a timeless shape.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it comes down to easy to hold for kids of all ages, kids with small hands. And from a developmental standpoint, you want the size of the marker barrel to be easy to hold. Um, and we stay within a standard. We also have ventilation for choking safety on caps, pen and marker caps. So we stay compliant for all of those areas. That's a critical part of how we come up with design, and the structure of a mold. Um, Sometimes, if the design works, it's not something that needs to really be over engineered. We're always looking for ways to make things more efficient, more sustainable, and sometimes that's with different plastic materials and things like that. So all of that goes into the consideration and the engineering process.
Mhm. Have markers changed a lot over time since you got involved?
You know what? In the basics sell the best. So we have retractable markers,
Mm.
but your standard desk style cap off, marker and pen, that's gonna be the best seller. From a coloring marker standpoint, we have more than 16 different colors that we manufacture in washable coloring inks. We're constantly developing new colors and following trends, things like that. Scented markers, different in a variety of different designs, whether it's a fine tip felt tip pen style or your regular coloring marker style. So we take all those things in consideration when we're developing something new.
Mhm. And markers and pens, like, have the sales been hit by this whole, digital revolution of draw on your iPad or, type it up? Like,
It's interesting you say that because people ask me that all the time for years, and
yeah.
I would say I would say we've seen more recent in the last few years on the creative side where people, you know, eh, I would say more on the hand lettering, the journaling, using felt tip pens, colors.
Mm.
People are more creative now than ever before when it comes to writing and pens. Your standard, retractable pen, ballpoint, rollerball, gel pen, that type of thing. I would say we're not seeing a decline. We have a product line we call our iWriter stylus pen line. So we have a stylus pen that has the multifunction, and you can use it on any type of touchscreen device or
Mhm.
tablet. But you can also write with it on paper. So that's our brand, the iWriter brand, and so we haven't seen much of a decline in that sense. I actually think more people have become creative, and fortunately, everybody still likes a pen.
That's good. Yeah, I think that, like, just today you see so many social media videos of people drawing stuff and using markers, and it's like because there's so much that you can do without that, there's like this craving for it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. And we've seen it even, interestingly enough, back, I would say I would say 2016, there was this adult coloring craze where there was, these more intricate designs of coloring books with very intricate detail. And we published our first coloring book back in 2016. And here we are, a company that had at the time been around 40 years, and we basically focused more on children's arts and crafts and coloring more than writing itself. And we'd never published a coloring book before, and here we were publishing this adult coloring book for adults, not
Really?
even for kids. Yeah, and today they still sell. They still sell. Not as there was there was definitely a peak and a trend for that. Um, and then we published a children's coloring book, with just an assortment of designs, a learning and activity book. So and the fact that we manufacture the complementary writing items for them, color felt tip pens, coloring markers, it complemented it nicely. So it worked out really well. And we offer those both on the retail side and the promotional product side. So
Nice.
it's been really, really great.
Yeah, it's smart to have this kind of ecosystem, built up in a sense.
And you know what? We've never been afraid to try something new and venture into an area that we've never dabbled in before. And
Mm,
sometimes you have to take those risks and see how it pans out. But it
yeah.
worked out okay.
Well,
Worked out okay.
in terms of like the avenues for sales, like is online, does it rival in person in retail, or is it still, like what does it kind of look like?
On the retail product side for us, you know, it's I would say in-person sales rival e-commerce. It's really hard to sell, while we're selling on the Amazons of the world and Walmart Marketplace and various retailers, it's really hard to be competitive. And everybody understands there's a cost associated with Amazon delivering that product to your door, right? And there's a cost for suppliers like us to have Amazon fulfill, if we're not shipping directly. And the transportation cost is a big part of it. So when you think about, a pack of coloring markers, you're paying a premium to have them on an Amazon or Walmart Marketplace, somewhere like that. And these are low cost items that you can walk into a retailer and spend $2-3 for. Um, so it's hard. We think that in our world, people want to see the product. Parents are walking with their kids through a store. They, especially in a stationery department, arts and crafts, they get excited about packaging, colors, the pack size, seeing, touching. They get to see the product in person and touch and feel it. I think that gives them a better perspective to make a purchase, as opposed to the e-commerce world. We do see it. We do see we sell our products in the e-commerce marketplaces, but for sure the in-person brick and mortar retailers are where the largest volumes are for our product category.
Yeah. Is there like specific innovation in markers and writing, utensils that you're like really excited about?
Yeah, we I would it's I don't want to say no. Um, I don't want to say no, but we like I said earlier, we've done scented, and we have color changing inks, and um, the basics do sell the best. I think it's more about the innovation of creating colors and new colors and design for that, more of the journaling, hand lettering, and coloring side. I think that when it came to innovation, we have on markers and highlighters retractable, rubber grip. I mean, we've added different textures. We have pens that are all soft touch rubberized coated on the outside, that are soft grip. They're more, like a comfort grip, that type of thing, where they're all coated with like a rubberized coating for, so I would say that an innovation there. Um, Otherwise, no one's really reinvented the wheel in writing. We have erasable inks that are thermosensitive, where which is pretty cool. But again, the basics sell the best.
The basics are the best.
Basics sell the best.
That's it. It's a great line. Um, so what does like the next kind of 5 to 10 years look like for you, Josh? Like, have you thought about what the future of this is?
Yeah, no, I mean, I would, I think the retail world is an interesting marketplace to be in. And I love it. It's a challenge. It's an absolute challenge every single day. When there's constant buyer changes. You want to get into a different major retailer. There's opportunistic uh, you know areas of when you can fulfill that a competitor doesn't, things like that. I take great pride in supplying our major retail customers. It's there's a lot of compliance that we follow. And you don't want to mess up your deliveries. I mean, it just gives you a bad reputation. So I think, going back to what you said before, how did our brand come there? Because we've been the most reliable supplier for over 50 years. um, you say, where's the next 5, 10 years? I'd like to see the business grow. We have an incredible group of of people that I work with. We have people that are tenured over 30 years working here on average, which is pretty incredible, and it gives me great pride to know that I can, hustle to make sure I can keep everybody happily employed in a safe place and comfortable and with job security. I mean, those are the things that drive me. I'd like to just keep the business going and grow both on the retail, the promotional product side, the commercial school and office side. We see opportunities. I think that there's a great value to products being made in the USA. We don't make everything here, but we make a good volume of our product line here. So I think that that's a really great. It's just been a great focus. So next 5, 10 years, hopefully keep doing what I'm doing and innovate, create new products, open up new opportunities, create new relationships. Um, I'd be totally completely content with that.
That's awesome. Josh, that was all the questions that I had. I appreciate you taking the time and doing this.
And I appreciate you doing this, Ben. This is a very inspiring podcast that you've put together, and I like seeing what you're doing. So thanks for having me.